Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be sharing my August book haul. So I have a nice pile to get through here, and I think I'm actually going to put some restrictions on myself for September and try not to buy any books unless they're like special editions that aren't going to be available unless I purchase them the day that they're released. Because one of my big goals for 2023 was to get my physical TBR under 100 books. And my friend Alexa shared with me her method for kind of like classifying TBR books, and I've been using that throughout the year, and it really has been working for me. And I'm very pleased to say that I actually got my physical TBR to 98 books, which I'm like so pleased about. However, the way that she does it and the way that I now am doing it is those 98 books are all books that have been on my TBR since 2022. So they're all like books that I purchased in 2022 or before. And now that we're getting kind of close to the end of the year, once the clock strikes midnight and it's 2024, all of those books that I purchased in 2023 that I haven't gotten around to reading yet are going to be added to my physical TBR. And that is going to be quite a number. I feel like I did pretty well in the beginning of the year with only buying like very minimally. And then I just like went wild from April to August. So I need to like rein it in a little bit again. And yeah, I think my 2023 TBR is at like, I think it's also at 98 books. So it's going to be a project. Let's get into the August book haul. So speaking of special editions, that is where we shall start. So first up, I got the Illumicrate editions of One for My Enemy and Masters of Death, both by Olivia Blake. As you guys know, I'm a huge Olivia Blake fan. I'm really excited about these. I think Illumicrate just does such gorgeous, gorgeous editions. They also do this very cool like cutout thing, which I'll kind of show. Actually, I'll show each book individually. So this is One for My Enemy. I'll just like, you know, spin it in a nice circle so you can get the full effect. And the sprayed pages, love these. So they actually do like a cutout in the front, so there's like a circle, and these end papers are foiled, and they're like the best end papers I've ever seen in my life. Like I am just in love with these. And then it is also signed by Olivia. Probably a digital signature, but I'm not sure. I mean, the back is the same, but like let's just admire them again. And then we have Masters of Death. I love the bats on here. These are so cool. And then again, we have the very cool cover cutout and really cool foiled end papers. I also have the Waterstones edition of Masters of Death, again, obviously by Olivia Blake. This one has really cool skulls on the pages. And as much as I love Olivia Blake, I definitely need some companies to slow down on making special editions of her books, because I think I could probably like fill an entire shelf at this point, and I know that she has 3 new books coming out next year, so I don't even know what I'm gonna do when that happens if we keep getting like a Waterstones Fairy Loot and a Illumicrate edition. And now Owlcrate too. Owlcrate also did Masters of Death, and actually so did Bookish Box, and I have both of those like on the way to me, but they haven't actually just shipped just yet, so they'll be here soon. They'll be in my September haul. I also bought the Bookish Box edition of A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. As you guys know, this is one of my favorite books that I read this year, so I was really excited to see that they still had this in stock on their online shop. I'm not like super in love with the dust jacket, but I really like below the cover. It also has pretty sprayed pages, but so below the dust jacket, I really love. Like this is how I'm gonna keep it on my shelf. And then the back is also amazing. It's kind of hard to see because it's like, it's not foiled, but it's like, no, it's like a rose gold foil, but because it's on red, it's like, you have to hold it at a specific angle to see it. So this one says, "A gift, a life without laws, without limits. The choice is yours." It also comes with a rather explicit print, so I'm not going to show that here. And then what you can do actually is you can refold the dust jacket to go this way. So if I wanted like it black versus red, I could potentially do that. I might do that. I'll decide. Oh, I actually have another Olivia Blake book. I meant to keep all of them together, but this one kind of got lost in the pile. So this is One for My Enemy, and this one is the Fairy Loot edition. So it's really pretty navy with white roses. Just go ahead and spin that around. Again, really pretty end papers, and then it has foiling of a flower. And then back to the bookish box, I also bought their edition of Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. Trying not to blind you with this cover because it's like a metallic, so lots of glare there. But I think their edition of this one is really, really pretty. This is like a witchy story that I'm planning on reading during the fall season. We'll just go ahead and spin this one around as well. The back of this one says, "We didn't wonder where the magic came from or why it worked. We never asked ourselves, is this ours to take?" And there's a bunny. There are 2 bunnies. And then there's also sprayed pages. And the end papers are super spooky. And it's signed. Then I have the Illumicrate edition of Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. This is the second book after Little Thief, which I actually haven't read yet. I'm going to read it soon, and I'm now going to be able to read both books back to back, which will be nice. But I've heard great things about this one. And again, they just did like a really pretty edition. So I didn't want to miss out on it, so I grabbed it while it was available. And then under the dust jacket has like character art. And this one came with a signed book plate sticker thing. Then I have the Waterstones edition of The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. So I talked about this one in my Dark Academia video. I've just been so feeling Dark Academia books and movies and TV shows and everything lately. So this is one that I'm very excited to read this season. And I just think that this cover is like stunning. Again, like love foiling. And it has gorgeous, gorgeous pages. And that's the back. And then also the end papers in this one are stunning. Then I also have the Illumicrate special edition of Bitterthorn by Kat Dunn. I heard someone talking about this in a video recently and said that it was kind of like similar to Uprooted, which I love that book. So I thought, why not? I'll give this one a shot too. I really like the purple metallic on this. And this one just has like purple pages. And then that is the back of the book. It says, "I knelt in a graveyard and told myself it was paradise." And that's gorgeous. Yeah. So this one just seems like a very good fall read. Then I have the Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. This is the Fairyloot edition, and it actually shipped like really quickly. I feel like I just ordered this one and it's already here. It's the digital signature. I never know if they're digital or like actually signed. Below the dust jacket is awesome. I love this like unicorn. And then this dragon. So cool. I can't wait to read this series. Then LitJoy did a special edition of Psyche and Eros by Luna McNamara. And I was really excited. I've never seen them just do like kind of like a one-off special edition like this. So it was pretty exciting when they released it. And it is also like super affordable. It's basically like the same price as just outright buying a regular edition of the book, which is really nice. So the cover is very shiny, and then it has sprayed pages. And see, it's just like very glossy. But what I love about this one, well, aside from the end papers, which are amazing, is that it looks like a tarot card. Like, this is just so gorgeous. Oh, love it. And then look at the back. And then the back has different end papers. Very, very excited and impressed by this edition. Then is a special-ish edition. So I got the anniversary edition of The Secret History. I believe it's the 30th. Yeah, the 30th anniversary edition. As you guys know, I just completely fell in love with this book. The ending still haunts me on a daily basis. I'm obsessed with it. And I'm really excited to have a nice hardcover copy. It's like, has like a cloth bound spine, which is pretty nice. But yeah, the cover is like kind of boring, but this is definitely nicer than my paperback version with a like red sticker on it that I can't remove. Then also from Illumicrate, I bought the special edition of Nimona by N.D. Stevenson. Andrew and I recently watched the Netflix adaptation of Nimona, and we both loved it. It was so good, and neither of us have read the graphic novel, so we're both very excited to do so. This one has some sprayed pages, has a very cool design. We love a good dragon in this house. And then I have the Afterlight edition of Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This is a romance book. I think the cover is very pretty. It has some foiling on it, which is pretty nice. And the sprayed pages are really pretty. Also has quite nice end papers and below the jacket. I'm not as big of a romance reader these days, so I do hope I really like this one because it is super pretty, but I'm usually like very picky about which ones I actually keep. Then I have some new releases. So first I have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is the second book after, not no, Belladonna's the first book. This is Foxglove. I have Foxglove by Adeline Grace, which is the second book after Belladonna. This is just like such an atmospheric series, and I really enjoyed the first book, so I'm really looking forward to reading the second one during the fall season. Also, this is not a special edition, but every first printing had this really lovely hardcover. Very excited. The Barnes & Noble edition, the flowers are pink, and then below the dust jacket is more like a reddish instead of a white. But I personally like the white hardback better, so that's why I opted for the original first printing. Then I have Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. This is Rachel Griffin's newest witchy release. She tends to release a witchy book each year. I really loved The Nature of Witches. I actually haven't read the second one yet, but I think I'm going to actually pick this one up before I read the second one. It's more like, has to do with like water, so it just sounds really cool. They also do a really nice first printing hardcover for Rachel's books. All of them have something special going on. This one says, he comes alive in darkness, so darkness I become. And the end papers are a nice map. And actually this side is super cool too. Then my copy of A Duet with the Siren Duke by Elise Kova finally came. Very excited about this one. I really enjoy the series. It's a lot of fun, just like cozy. I know it's going to be a good time. I still have to read the third one, and then I'll read this one afterward. Then also a new release, Random House sent me a copy of Mr. Magic by Kirsten White, and I'm really excited about this one. I talked about it in my August book releases video. Sounds like it's going to be really good. It's Kirsten White's second horror novel. Both of her adult horror novels are on the short side, so I think that these will be a really good October kind of binge read. Two of you said that you really liked Hyde despite the negative reviews that I've heard, so you renewed my interest, and I'm going to give that one a go as well. Then also from Random House, they sent me a copy of Exquisite Exandria, which is a cookbook based on Critical Role. So Andrew and I had a lot of fun just like flipping through this and seeing all of the recipes that they came up with, and I'm really excited to start making some of these. I think that's going to be so much fun and like a nice long project to give myself. This is the back of it. There are a ton of recipes in here, everything from like breakfast to lunch to dinner to dessert. Pretty much anything that you can imagine, they've got it covered, so I'm excited. Then actually, while I'm talking about books sent from publishers, one of my good friends who works for Harper was kind enough to send me a copy of Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reid. I've been really wanting to read this one. I've heard that it has extremely dark subject matter, so it's good to know that going into it, but for some reason, these past couple of months, I've just been really in the mood for like deep, dark books. So I think that this will satiate my current reading craving. Then as an add-on to the Legends and Lattes Kickstarter for the enamel pins and the sign foiled bookmark, I also added on the Mother of Learning hardcovers because I heard Patrick Leo talk about these in a video. He just totally sold me on them, and I think that the covers are so striking, and I really like magic, obviously. So they had a lot of things going for them, and I'm really excited to give these a shot. They sound so good. I think that there are currently 4 arcs. Wraithmarked has done 2 of them in Kickstarter form, and I will definitely back 3 and 4 when they are announced, assuming that I like these, which I think that I will. Then I got A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft. I've been really interested in her books, but I hadn't ever picked them up until this point, so I'm really excited to have one on my TBR. This again just seems kind of like an atmospheric fall read, and I think it'll fit in really nicely with the rest of the books that I have on my TBR for the season. Then I got Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I actually never read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I know that that would be a huge undertaking, but it's actually my brother-in-law's favorite book, so I do want to get to it at some point, but I think I want to start with Piranesi, which is obviously a lot smaller. It seems like the kind of book that I would really love, like with that just really beautiful writing style and where things kind of come together at the end. So I'm very much looking forward to hopefully binge reading this book in a day at some point very soon. This one's also not a special edition, but I just think the hardcover is really pretty. Then I got Vita Nostra by Marina and Sergei Dyachenko. This is a translated dark academia work that I have heard a lot about recently, and I really want to give it a shot. There's actually a second book that I think was published in March, so assuming that I like this, I'll pick that one up too, but I'm really, really in the market for more dark academia books, so I was so excited to discover one that I hadn't heard of before. We are down to the final couple of books, so I also picked up Jackalope Lives and Other Stories by T. Kingfisher. This is the only T. Kingfisher fairy tale book that is still in publication that I hadn't purchased yet. So I kind of want to like read all of these over a week if I can manage to do that. But this one says it was the winner of the Nebula Award for Best Short Story. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I tend to really like T. Kingfisher's fantasy. Then I got the Penguin cloth-bound edition of The Odyssey by Homer. I actually have the Iliad, but I didn't have the Odyssey, and I wanted to have matching editions, so I picked this one up. I'm very excited to have it for my collection, and hopefully I will reread these at some point in the near future. Then, while my dad and my uncle were cleaning out my grandparents' house, they came across this little leather-bound book of sonnets by William Shakespeare, so I'm really excited to have this for my collection. There's actually like a handwritten birthday note in it from my aunt and my dad to my grandfather for his birthday in 1975, which is just like so cool and basically one of the most valuable books in my collection, I would say, just based on like the personal connection. Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me so happy to have something like so old and so meaningful on my shelves. And then lastly, I have a nonfiction book about witchcraft. So this is Witchcraft, A History in 13 Trials. And it actually says that 3 women were prosecuted under a version of the 1735 Witchcraft Act as recently as 2018, which is wild. So this one is written by a professor, and she uses 13 witch trials in order to kind of tell the history of witchcraft and witch hunts, and it just sounds absolutely fascinating. All right, those are all of the books that I acquired in August. I am really excited to read all of them. I think I've got some really good stuff going for my collection. Happy with these purchases, but like I said, let's see if I can stick to it, but I'm going to try really hard not to buy any books that are not special editions in September. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's a goal, and we can aspire. Let me know if you read any of the books that I picked up, or if there are any that you think I should put to like the top of my TBR. So that's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!